Shalom. I like to say, call Lord Wahawala, which is all praise and glory in Hebrew to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makargadash, double not supposed to Elder Brimstone, bless God, the elect, a few sisters, and Israelite foreigners. Let's wake up to the truth. My name is Kamafi from GMS Cleveland Branch, coming at you another video lesson, alright? And, you see, we're coming towards the end of the road as far as society as we know it. Esau is manufacturing this energy crisis, and he wants to bring the world to its knees. All right, that's the standpoint that we're at right now. And Esau, he's not sparing nobody. All right, to bring about his goal, his objective. Okay, world dominance is the plan. All right, and he's going to lock the world down again through this energy crisis. All right, and people are deeply concerned because they see that it's going in that direction. All right, and they're in great fear. All right, because nobody wants to relive that event. All right, so people are just they're panicking. All right, because Esau is about to obstruct everything that everything that is running right now as some type of normality, if that's a word. Okay. He's about to back people into a corner, and with the straight out moves, which is going to be closed. He said there are Iranians, they're politicians and leaders and generals and stuff. I forgot the position, the guy that always be talking about, the Iranian guy that always be speaking on behalf of Iran about the whole position that they stand on, and the relationship between U.S., Iran, and Israel. All right, but dude definitely says it's gonna be closed indefinitely until they meet Iran demands. All right, so we see where things are headed to. All right, so yeah, man. I got this video I'm gonna play, and as you can see from that little word caption, it says U.S. shortage tanks are tracked to run dry by July 4th. So yeah, so lots of things are going to speed up and intensify through this war, through this war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. Okay. All right, so that's our job as watchmen, as seers, to report these things and get our people prepared, all right, for the disasters about to take place, for the the bumpy road ahead. All right, because it's about to get ugly, man. It's about to get ugly, and people are they in straight crash out mode, and they they're just ready to lose it, man. All right, people have no patience. People are have no shame. They they just pissed off and enraged. All right, so yeah, man. Yeah, as you can see, scriptures talking about love ministry wax code, and basically people are not going to spare their neighbor. All right, so as the gas prices go up, continue to go up, and things get more, everything gets tighter, and just a squeeze on people's livelihood. They're going to be less compassion. All right, less compassion, and just numb for as having mercy and looking at each other as just looking at each other start looking at each other as an enemy. Then, because when survival is in the equation, all right, what do they call that? Damn, what the fuck do they call it? They call that self-preservation. Self-preservation is going to come first, all right, and we're gonna see it perfectly in these last days, all right. But yeah, man. So I'm about to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hit these scriptures before I play these videos, and I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. So where I'm at. So it's Romans 11:13 or 13:11. It says, "And that knowing the time that is now high time to wake up our sleep, for our salvation is nearer than we believe." Yeah. So we see the signs, we see the prophecies coming to pass, and how it's leading to Esau's end. So yeah, it is closer than we believe, man. Just based on the prophecies coming to pass. All right. Luke. What the fuck is this? Luke 21:34. It says, "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, so that day come upon you unawares." Let me look at the word surfeiting. Okay, sorry, let me see. Damn, where the hell is that? What the fuck? Oh shit, this is the wrong one. Okay. Here we go. It says a headache is a seizure of pain from drunkenness, i.e. implications, debauch, analogy, the grittiness, a headache caused by drinking wine to excess. Surfing. It says the act of overindulging in something, usually eating or drinking, the point of excessive sickness or disgust derived from means feeding or supplying or consuming an amount of excessiveness that creates a feeling of cloud or overwhelm, consume or doing something immoderate. And so, yeah, so just doing too much. That's what it means. Just overly doing something too much. Okay. Surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this world. Right, so you just doing too much in this world, or you pouring too hard. It could be anything. It's overly, going, overdoing it, man. All right. So that they may come upon you unawares. So yes, we're supposed to be keeping up the prophecies. We're supposed to be, in our right mind, being, sober and aware, man. Sober and aware. All right. Not being, Just just wilding out and over the top, man. All right, supposed to have a balance. Okay, so being in your right mind, man, and paying attention. Okay, scripture. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:1. It says, "But the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so come as a thief in the night, and not gonna come as a thief in the night to the elect, to the prophets, to the ones, the true prophets that are watching. All right, and warn our people, because we're watching. It's gonna take the world by surprise, because they're not looking for these things. All right, as a matter of fact, they're not even hoping for these things to happen, because they want this world to continue on. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them, as revealed upon one child, they shall not escape. But ye brethren, you are not darkness. You're not darkness, that the day shall overtake you as a thief." Right, so that's what I was just saying, man. Okay, if you got your head on the swivel, all right, and your eye on the prize, which is the kingdom of heaven, and you're hasting and being diligent for the Lord and Savior to come back, you would know, all right, what His will is and what the things He said to be on the lookout for His coming. Okay. So yeah, man. This thing is close, man. It's drawing closer by the day. Every day is something new. So we just gotta be focused, right? Having our eye single, okay? Because the destruction of this place is going to happen, okay? And we're living in it. We're living in the fall of our enemy. All right. But without further ado, I'm gonna play this video. Slide that one right there. Slide it. Here we go.
U.S. oil storage tanks are on track to run dry by July 4th. Here's what that actually means. A senior advisor at the Carlyle Group said it on Bloomberg last week, so I wanted to make this video and go over what that actually means for you. But before I get into this, give me a follow for regular updates on this catastrophic war and the economic fallout of it. I'm a veteran and I have a master's degree in supply chain management. So I've studied logistics and how bullwhip effect, which is the idea that disruptions take time to ripple through a system than the initial shock suggests. And this looks like a textbook example of the bullwhip effect. First, let's talk about what tank bottom actually means. Because when most people hear that oil storage tanks are very low, they think, okay, the tanks themselves are almost empty. But that's not exactly what this means. You see, oil storage tanks require a minimum volume of liquid for the pumps to actually function. When levels drop below a
make sure you get the mic is on.
Minimum threshold, the remaining oil becomes physically inaccessible. The pumps fail, the oil can't move, and the pipeline stops functioning. So you haven't literally run out of oil, but you run out of the ability to access the oil you do have. And the last 15 to 20% of that oil can't be accessed at all due to floating roofs that they put on top of the tanks to prevent evaporation. When those get too low, you risk collapse, which creates fire and explosion risks. So when Jeff Curry, the senior advisor at Carlyle Group, goes on Bloomberg and says that he's never seen anything like this before in history, and that tanks will hit bottoms in Europe this month and in the United States around July 4th, he's not just saying that supplies are running low, but rather that the system is reaching the point where it no longer functions if we can keep depleting the stores that we have. So let's talk about timeline, because it's happening right now, even if you have not fully felt the effects of it. JP Morgan predicted that OECD countries, as in the US, Japan, Korea, Europe, will hit operational minimums sometime between May 9th and May 30th. Today is May 11th, so we are squarely in that window. And according to JP Morgan, that's the point at which prices become exponential. Asia is already there, as in Pakistan, Indonesia, the Philippines, they're already reaching tank bottom, specifically for gasoline. India is already hitting LPG shortages because 60% of their cooking gas comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Airlines across Asia are already canceling flights, and South Korea has imposed mandatory export caps on refined petroleum. Europe hits it this month. Goldman Sachs published a study that predicted that Europe's jet fuel inventories will fall below the IEA's critical 23-day threshold sometime in June. The EU Energy Commissioner has already shifted his language from a potential pricing issue to a supply disruption, with the UK being the greatest risk of having to ration jet fuel, according to Goldman Sachs. For the US, it supposedly hits around July 4th. US gasoline inventories fell for the 11th consecutive week just this past weekend, and gas prices are up 70% compared to this time last year. The national average for gas prices in America is $4.48, which is 50% higher than it was before the war started. And in places like LA or San Diego, where I live, it's already well above $6, some places $7 a gallon. Diesel is 16 cents away from an all-time high. And retail gas surged 30% just in the last week alone, which is the fastest increase since before the war. Now, the reason that your gas prices went up has almost nothing to do with U.S. oil supplies directly. What happened was Europe ran short on jet fuel, so their refineries shifted over towards their capacity in making more jet fuel and diesel, which decreased the amount of gasoline that they produced. So because there was a gasoline shortage in Europe, that raised your prices here in the U.S. So a fuel shortage in Europe is showing up in your gas bill. And that's just how interconnected these global energy markets really are. The New York Federal Reserve published a study this last week that said low-income houses are cutting their gas usage by 7%, and high-income houses are decreasing their usage by 1%, which essentially shows that the people who are least able to absorb this impact are absorbing the brunt of it. Spirit Airlines shut down after government bailout talks failed, and more airlines are at risk if oil remains above $150 a barrel. And if more airlines go under or airlines start cutting flights, that increases the price of the remaining flights, assuming demand stays the same. So this is just inflation across the entire market. Now, the most important thing to understand about this is timing, because even if the Strait opened up tomorrow, it wouldn't fix things quickly. Jeff Curry, the Carlyle Group analyst, even said if this standoff was resolved today, it would still take 3+ months before supply levels began flowing back to normal levels. Shell's CEO said that you can't just simply turn the system back on. You factor in the infrastructure damage done to the refineries in the Gulf, as well as the time it will take to clear the Strait of mines. All of those add months to get us anywhere close to where we were before this war started. This is what the bullwhip effect looks like in real time. Remember, the Strait closed 10 weeks ago, back in February. The full consequences of that action are still working themselves through the system. And what you're feeling today at the gas pump or in airline prices or food prices is not the end of it. We're actually just in the middle of it. And the downstream effects on food prices and manufacturing and shipping rates haven't even worked their way into the equation yet. But don't worry, they're coming. And this is what happens when you start a war in one of the world's most critical energy corridors with no plan for what happens once there are supply chain disruptions. The IEA called this the biggest energy security threat in history. These aren't fringe analysts or doomsday panickers. These are the institutions that run the global financial system telling you that something unprecedented is happening.
Going on out here, and in terms of seeing the setup in front of us, that's disastrous. That's exactly what we've got going on here in terms of what I see. And I'm talking all kinds of different angles. The water situation, this is all manufactured. Like water wars, right? But the drought is engineered to make this whole situation way worse than what it needs to be. Our government's not making any moves to try to use technology for good at all. They're not putting up desalination plants, shipping in water, or doing anything like that. What's happening here is this whole thing with Hormuz seems to be engineered to reset the globe. And what's about to happen is things are just about to disappear. Okay? In terms of the oil, I have an article I'm going to leave below, and it goes over all the numbers and all the data. Okay? And it shows clearly that the last ship that filled up with oil that came out of Hormuz has already came to the port of Long Beach and dropped that off on May 3rd. It's gone. It's out of here. You can expect there's nothing coming behind it. They're saying that we are projected to run out of usable oil by the 4th of July of this year if we don't get this together, get it opened up, and get things moving. So what's going to happen is you're not going to see, per se, $6, $7, $8 gas in some places. You're just not going to see it. Maybe gas is there, though. It only takes knocking out one thing, and that's diesel. When the diesel goes, it's over. It's game over. Nothing moves. Tractors don't move. Truckers don't move. We're heading in that direction very quick. I'd have a plan for that. And join me for the live streams, man, where I can talk about this in greater detail. Going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. But it's crunch time, and I've...
Okay, that's it, man. Yeah, so this is where we at right now, you know. All right, the times is being measured. All right. And, you know, if you're on the watchtower, and you already know, you know, it's time to, you know, stay prepared and be ready, okay? Because, you know, this is the test. This is a test, and, you know, it's such a time like no other is about to occur, all right? And, you know, we got to pray that y'all about Shem shall be with us, because that's the only way you're going to survive this thing is the Lord's with you, all right? I don't give a damn how smart you are and how, you know, military survival trained you are. There's nothing that you can do to prepare you for this moment in time, in this present time that we're in, okay? And things is about to take place, all right? So, yeah, man. Yeah, man, just be ready. Stay on the lookout. But that one girl, praise and glory to Yahweh, Shem Shah, that one's positive, it was great. Let's go, like few scissors, and it's like on the shoulder.